In my hands, I am holding 3 books: The Irresistible Urge to Fulfill Your Enemy by Bridget Knightley, The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig, and Rose in Chains by Julie Soto. So we're going to chat about all 3 of these upcoming releases, because I can. I'll start with my most recent read of the 3 and move backwards, and that is Rose in Chains by Julie Soto. This is her debut fantasy book. It is very much a fantasy romance, emphasis on romance. The romance is the main thing that propels the plot forward. It's the main reason why I kept reading and the main reason I was so absorbed. Julie Soto knows how to write tension. She is an expert at crafting it. It's exquisite to read in this book. Fully just dropped this on the ground and it completely bent. Oh well. In Rose in Chains, Bryony's castle is overrun by the enemy and she is captured. She is then sold to like the highest bidder at auction because the bad guys have taken over. A man called Tovin Hurst buys her at auction. She's familiar with Tovin, they went to the same school together. She's a little bit infatuated by him. I do think the world building in this is a bit patchy. This is first in a trilogy. There is a lot to kind of establish and explore in further books. It does a good job of establishing the world we're in, but I kind of just want a bit more. A little bit more understanding of the magic at play and how it works. However, if I'm being honest, I'm barely reading for that. I'm reading for the connection between the 2 main characters, which as mentioned is expertly done. I'm going to talk more about this, its fanfic origins, how it's adapted, how it's reworked in another video. I also way prefer the US cover compared to the UK cover. So excited to receive this to review. I love Julie Soto, I love the auction, so thank you so much Harper Voyager for sending this to me. The Irresistible Urge to Fulfill Your Enemy by Bridget Knightley. In a word, I would describe this as delightful, but I think you need to go into it with your expectations of what it is very clear. This is a fantasy rom-com between 2 people who know exactly who they are. This is not a character development book. This is not even really a world-building book. It is at its core a rom-com, and the beats of a rom-com are hit perfectly. It is set in an original fantasy world. It is a magic system. There is a world to understand. The magic system is inherently tied to like the plot and what sparks the plot of this book. But it is a book for people who love to get to know characters and see them in different situations and how they respond to stuff. And it is a meeting of wills between our 2 main characters. They hate each other. She's a healer, he's an assassin. They do not want to be working together, and yet circumstances mean they do. But the task at hand is what propels the plot forward. It's not particularly complex. It's not supposed to be, in my opinion. Instead, this is a delightful ride. It's filled with some of the most unique, original, witty banter I've come across in a book in recent times. It's so entertaining and amusing. It is utterly absorbing. I loved to get to know these characters, and it is proper slow burn. This is first in a duology. Bring back a slow burn. I love to be rewarded for my patience. And basically fuck all happens in this book. But the second book, I am ready. Sign me up. I loved it. My only critique is I wish this was a standalone, not a duology, because I would have loved a complete story, as by the time we really got to know these characters, the book was wrapping up. But it is just so fun. Bring back fun books. And I think the cover is a work of art. Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. I gave this 5 stars. I really loved it. Rachel Gillig has taken everything good about her first 2 books and like improved on them and enhanced them in this new book. Not set in the world of her other ones. It's a completely new world, completely new story, completely new characters. This is also first in a duology. I hate duologies. But luckily that doesn't subtract from how much I love this book. In this book we follow someone called Sybil who is a diviner. A diviner is someone who can read the omens and predict people's future. A diviner does their service for 10 years. She's not the only diviner, there are 6 others. As she is approaching the end of her 10-year service, her other diviners are going missing one by one. When Sybil is the last, she decides to do something about it. She embarks on a quest to find them. Now this is all coinciding with the arrival of a new party who are getting their fortunes read at this cathedral. Part of this party is a knight called Roderick who doesn't believe in what the diviners do. So he's obviously the perfect candidate to help Sybil on her quest. He is also one of the most attractive men ever written on paper, because there is something so hot and intimate about a knight removing their armor slowly. It gets me every time. So the reasons I love this book are the exquisite writing, so vivid, immersive, enthralling. It just propels the plot forward. Stunning. I love the characters. I think Sybil was a great heroine, and I love Roderick the Knight so much. He is like my ideal love interest in any book ever. And then I loved the romance because it's very intimate. It is full of yearning. It is a slow burn, unfurls at a pace that they're comfortable with. And that is what I'm into, so I really loved it. In my opinion, this is better than the Shepherd King duology. So if you loved that, you will love this so much. And even if you haven't read that, you will love this anyway.